Hi, my name's Westmancott, and I just want to take a few minutes of your time today just to go through a few aspects of my house style. Now, when we bespoke tailors talk about house style, we're not saying that we only cut garments to that particular style or that particular design. It's more about a general ethos, the way we like to draft our patterns, the lines that we like to create, and the things that we think are going to be most flattering to the client, to you, the customer. Now, my house style is developed in two ways. Part of it's based on the training. I trained in a firm called Deej and Skinner on Savile, which has a very strong military and equestrian background. But since going independent, I've gone on to develop that style and create something that's unique to Westmancott. And how I've done that is basically I've taken suits that I've cut and I've very subtly altered the silhouette and the positioning of different aspects of it. And I've taken photographs of all of those. I then showed those photographs to groups of both straight men, gay men and women to really nail down what it was that people find most attractive and the things that people think look best in those garments. Now, one thing you'll notice as you look at the silhouette of one of my jackets is there's a lot of shape that goes into it, and I cut a very waisted garment. And this isn't something that is just flattering to a very slim or thin gentleman. It also works on a larger guy as well, because no matter how big you are, you always have a waistline and there's always shape that you can put into a garment to make you look slimmer and also to flatter your figure. Now, one particular aspect of how I cut my jackets is I don't put a front dart at all in the front of the jacket. Now, what you'll see, and you can probably go away and have a look at some of the suits in your wardrobes, is you'll see that in this area on most garments there's a dart, a seam that runs from the top of the pocket up to about the chest area here. And the reason that's put in is its aim is to create shape in this chest area. And the reason I don't put one in is because as soon as you take cloth out of here, it disturbs the design of the fabric, which means you get a mismatch between the style below the pocket line and on the pocket flap and what's above it. I create that shape using the canvases and using hidden darts and shape both in the crease edge of the lapel and around in the front armhole. One of the other reasons why I don't put a dart is I don't like to build up the chest area too much. One of the things we found when altering the silhouettes and showing clients is that cutting a slimmer chest line, keeping it as slim and small here as possible, was actually more flattering and made people look slimmer and made them look stronger. One other aspect that you'll notice is I cut a very high lapel, so the line of the top of the lapel is very high up onto the shoulder area. And again, the reason I've done this is it keeps this line very long and slim. Obviously, the lower down you come, the shorter that is, the longer it is, the more flattering and slimmering it is. And it also keeps the focus high up into this area, and when your eye is drawn to this area in particular, it creates again a stronger silhouette, a more masculine silhouette. I also cut a very structured shoulder. It's a very crisp line in this area, as opposed to lots of tailors which like a very soft, draping, rounded shoulder. Again, I found that when you cut a very crisp line, it's a very strong silhouette. It's a very dominant silhouette, if you were. But that doesn't mean that I cut a shoulder line which is uncomfortable. It's a very soft but structured shape. You'll also notice around the top of the sleeve area, what's known as the crown of the sleeve. Now, different head tailors have different ideas on this. Some cut are very roped, so the edge of this part of the sleeve goes up a long way. Some, particularly the continental tailors, like to take away all of that as much as possible, so it's a very flat shouldering. What I like to do is hit somewhere in the middle, so there's a little bit of structure, but I don't like to overdo it. Another thing about my particular style is one thing you'll notice in these front areas. Now, this is something that's been developing a little bit more, so this is what's known as the quarters. Now, if you cut this at more of an angle here, it's called opening the quarters, and if you cut it further that way, you're using closed quarters. Now one thing I'm starting to do a little bit more with my suits is just open that line a little bit more, so cutting slightly more open quarters. What you're finding is, again, it's drawing the eye into the middle, creating that waist, creating the shape, and it mimics this line as we go down the lapel and then come round, which we're finding is a lot more flattering and suits more people. One other little thing that I like to do, and again, with all of these aspects, particularly this one, which is just a style design, is I like to cut a one-button cuff. Now, this isn't for everyone. Some people like to go for a classic 4-button cuff, so I've got a 1-button cuff here. And the reason I've done this and adopted it as my house style is I like the way it very subtly just hints at this being something special. Most suits have got a 4-button cuff or a 3-button cuff. When you've got a 1-button cuff, people just catch it and go, oh, that's interesting. I hope this has helped just give you a little bit of a brief run through. Obviously there's a lot more to my style of cutting than just a few aspects that I can show you here. Every one of my suits is individually cut for you, so depending on your figure, your likes and dislikes, I'll alter the way I'm cut. So basically, at the end of the day, I'm trying to cut a garment that looks really good for you, feels really comfortable to wear, and gets you being admired and people going, oh, that's a nice suit.